let's get started. Welcome. I hope everyone's going well tonight. So, yeah, this music is a little loud for me. There we go. Hopefully it's okay for you guys. Anyway, let's get started. We are actually going to work on the project information redesign today. So, we're going to jump straight into it. Yeah, cool. So the first thing I want to do is let's draw out the layout. We'll just skip all of that. So we've got the screen. So the screen will look somewhat like this. I'm talking about a desktop screen here. Inside we'll have like the general details. I'm just going to say GD, so that will be the title and the description. Over on the right we will have our usual sort of properties. So that will be all the tags, the labels, start date, end date, and all that kind of stuff. Underneath would be the stakeholder information. I do have a mock-up of it, just on my other screen at the moment, and so forth like that. There's a bunch of other stuff, but first we'll start out with the very basic sort of stuff. Yeah. So what we want to do, I'm going to minimize everything here. We're going to open up the source. We're going to go straight into the components. Now we've got a project here. We've got the project information here. I'm actually going to rename this to project page. Like so. I don't think we're using this anywhere. We'll find out in a minute anyway. I think the router will throw up, an issue. So I'm just going to search for project information within the whole entire thing. Let's just do that. We've got it in here, so as you can see, it threw it up there, project page. Alright, cool, and yeah, that's easy done. I don't know why it's decided to put things around here, but hey, it's done it, so oh well. Let's go straight back into the project page. So here we just got project information and nothing too fancy or anything like that. We're going to build up a couple of cards, and what we're going to do is we're going to start programming in the card dimensions. So if you actually have a look at, let's say, the project with the project search, this is a card. Sorry, this is a card here. It actually has a maximum width that we set, and what we're going to do is we're going to sort of implement it where we can actually modify that and actually have larger ones and smaller ones too. So yeah, let's go ahead and ignore that for the moment, but just open up this. We're just going to actually the design does have something akin to manage, and what was it? Manage details for your project. Yeah, it did have something like that. However, when we click into it, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but that's perfectly fine. So what we want to do is we want to go card component here like this, and then we want to go card header. We want to have a title, and I'm just going to put general details in here. Ooh, we've hit our first ad break on Twitch. For those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch. There's up to pre-rolled ads. They start now, and they're not sorry. I fucked up my spiel. Yeah, we run ads on Twitch to stop the pre-rolled ads because the pre-rolled ads just suck. So yeah, we tend to do this for about 90 seconds whilst we wait for the ads to disappear so no one misses out on any content. So yeah, hopefully everyone's going well. It's almost New Year's. We've got a couple of days left. I don't know if I'll be streaming on New Year's Day. So we'll find out. 40 seconds left of the ads. So yeah. I know, ads suck. I would opt out of all the ads, but we're forced to on Twitch, so yeah. Anyway, yeah. hopefully this design is good enough at least. So yeah, I'm hoping to get this sort of started, because once you get this one done and everyone's happy with the project information page, everyone will be happy with the task information page, everyone will be happy with the requirement and requirement item pages, and then the only ones that really need a good look at are the sprints, the Kanban board, and the request for change, which a lot of the requests for change will be nabbing stuff from here. So yeah. Anyway, welcome back everyone. So we're going to jump right back into it. So we've got the title up there. I just realized we can just do something like this and get rid of this. That's perfectly fine. I do believe that, yeah, there is no markdown for that. Now we do need to import these. That's pretty easy. That'll be import component from, and that will be components. That will be I forgot prefab card. We've got the card component, and then import card header. That will be, yep, as simple as that. It's a card header component. No, it's just card header. Don't know why it's added component to the autocomplete's getting really weird. So if we have a look over here, now we've got general details up here. And then what we could do is we can start filling out the form. So we'll have form group. How have I set up form group again? Form group is just something like that. It's just wrap stuff around it. It's very simple. All right, cool. So we've got form group. I'm just going to import form group from, and this will be from the @components / prefab / and this will be form group, and then yeah, the form group dot view. Oops. So we'll have all our form details here. Smiley face. All right, cool, easy done. And we'll import that now. So in the form group, we'll actually have, and I'm going to import some more other stuff. So we've got the, I keep forgetting the titles and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to open up prefab here. We'll have text input. So we'll have a basic text input. So we'll have the basic text input component. That would be text input component like so. We'll have label equals the project name. Required will be true and all that kind of stuff. I'm just double checking what else is required in here. So is required, oh, that one's got to be true straight off the bat. All right, cool. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do that. What we're going to do is required equals true. Let's have a look at what other things. Min length and max length. So min length we won't touch, but the max length we do need to touch. That will be 255. Now, for these particular ones, oops, they've got to be set up like this, like for the vbind, and the reason being is it can't, we need to pass through a boolean there, not a string, and an integer there, not a string. So that's why we're doing the vbinds there. Placeholder text. Oh, what do we have for the placeholder text? I don't think we need a placeholder text at the moment. I'm just double checking what we did with the new project. So if we go into the new project itself and we scroll down, we've got your project title. And we've got title here too. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm just going to copy all of that. I'm just going to paste it in. I'm just going to format like that. Alright, we're not going to worry too much about the models at the moment. I'll update those in a second. But we do have a field validation in here. So as you see, field validation, title model, value, and if we go up here into the field validation itself, check validation, field validation. Where am I setting that again? Yes, that's changing whether or not a particular field is valid or not, because I'm rolling my own validation, which I will eventually be putting into mixtures and so forth like that. So that way, we've got reusable code everywhere. Well, not mixtures. It's, what is the new thing again called? Composables, compositions. And YD, how are you going? Yeah, I'm having a good one. Yashar, welcome, welcome. I hope you are having a good day. It's not compositions. So I think it is composables. Composables. Yeah, composables. All right, cool. So you can put, this can be used instead of mixtures and stuff like that. Or mix-ins, I should say, not mixtures. So yeah, we'll be using those. But for the moment, for this mock-up, we're just putting it in and keeping it simple. Whoops, and keeping it simple. So yeah. All right, another thing we want to do is, oh, sorry. Oh my God. We don't want new project in there at all. I'm pretty happy with all of this. So we just need the title models and all that kind of stuff. So what I gotta do, this is actually part of data. So what we're gonna do, const title model equals define model. Oh, hang on. I think I'm mucking up somewhere. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, oh no, I'm right. All right, cool. It'll be like the exact same as that. All right, cool. So yeah, we've got the title model, we defined it as title model, it'll be type string and the default will be nothing. In this sort of case, we're actually going to change that. We're going to make it each project, I'm just going to call it like that. And then we're going to have a description model. Like so, we've got the type being a string, easy done. The default, I'll fill out the default in a minute. It's not going to be a problem. We are going to have to fill out a multi-line text editor. So if we go import so we'll have a text area instead. So oops, if I go based on my feature as well as established works. Alright, cool. So yeah, we're just gonna do something like this. Nothing too fancy at the moment. This is, once again, this is just for the vertical slice of the new design. Yeah, yeah, that's all we need at the moment. So I'm just going to go back over here. We're going to go down into our prefab stuff. We're going to right hand click. We're going to create a new directory called text area. We're going to right hand click. We're going to create a Vue component called text area component. In here, it's just going to be as simple as text area. We're going to keep it like that for a couple of seconds. Up here, this is where I'm trying to remember how we do it with the new project. So in the new project, what we actually do is we come down and we go vModel, and I think we just keep it as vModel, and we've got title model in here. But if we go into the V component, and we scroll all the way up to the top, we know what we're emitting, and we just define model. All right, cool. Yep, and that's what we're going to be doing too. So it's just going to be like that. Easy done. We're just going to go v model equals, and we're just going to put model. Why do you have a? I've screwed up, haven't I? No. All right, hang on. Let's have a look at text input component. Let's scroll down. We're actually going to copy all of this in a second. Oh, it comes with its own form group. All right. Which means I can get rid of this form group. Less code. Sweet. Still need to do field validation. That will be part of the data. That will be up here. I can go to that form group. I can go in here and I can go field validation. Const field validation equals ref. And then that's where I've got to scratch my head and be like, how did I do that last time? Oh yeah, it's a record, define data, yep, field validation record. No, it's not ref. All right, cool. That's where I was getting a bit confused. All right, cool. It'll be title model, and that will also be description model, like that. Easy done. So description model will have to go further down, but that's perfectly fine. Let's go into the text area. Yeah, we'll need the ID. A lot of this will be pretty much the same of how we set up the other forms and so forth like that. If that gets samey, we might actually extract that out into another different level and so forth like that. So that way we can focus on building these components faster and faster. That being said, who knows? This is just a vertical slice. This is us just figuring stuff out. We're only doing a small little slither of it. From there, we can probably make some changes pretty easily. So yeah. All right. Now, what I got to do is I've got to import all of these. Once again, we're just going to copy from new project. I should really just copy and paste it from new project, and I am just going to do that. So we're going to delete the text area. We're going to not copy the new component. Sorry, not copy that one. We're going to copy the text input. We're going to paste it into here, and it's going to be called text area component. Just going to add it in. Easy done. We've got what we need in here. Everything's sort of set up. So we're importing stuff we need in here. We're admitting whether it's valid or not. We've got defined props is required, false, cool, min length is 0, max length, default is 0, yep, that's perfectly fine. Placeholder text, we've got the, now in this sort of case, I've used title instead of label. And that is one thing I do want to actually change. Because I really that should be label. I mean, tooltip title and tooltip message make sense because you got the title and the message. In this sort of case, this is the label for the field itself. So I'm going to make this change on new project and this very, very quickly. So what I got to do, sorry, not new project, the text input component. Instead of having a title, it's going to be called label. And we're going to put the stuff in alphabetical order just because I am like that. It's done. Things are going to break, so we're just going to go label. Label. Now, I don't like it like that, but the linted makes it like that. Label. All right, cool. Easy done. We're going to do that for the text area component. So we're just going to go in. We're like, nah, we hate this. We're going to call it label. We're going to delete those 4 lines. We're going to go all the way up to here. We're just going to paste those in. We're going to lint everything. And yeah, now max length and min length, we're keeping these in here just in case. The defaults will be 0, meaning there's nothing set up. The is required is also set to false. So, yep, easy done. Placeholder text, there'll be nothing. Tooltip messages, there'll be nothing. Easy done. We've got the defined model passing down. That'll be perfectly fine. We've got it, whether or not there are any errors and what the error message is. We've got the get ID, so someone will pass down an ID into here, and that's just so there's a unique ID on the page. So I'll take that when you set these up, because these are just going to be basic sort of components. You just feed through something. Cool. All right, and then in here we've got check validation. Yeah, that's just the basic sort of check validation. Once again, we might put this into mixtures. Not mixtures, mix-ins, sorry. Not mixtures, not mix-ins. The composables. Whatever it is, sorry. Words are leaving my head. Cool, yep, that's all. We all know that's all working. We know all of this will work. It's just that this will be text area. And then pretty much it works the exact same as the other one, which is good. So if we go into a project page and we go down, why is that throwing up an issue? Now I've got to go through and fix those issues. This will be text area component. So we'll have the v model equals description model is required. Actually, we don't need that because being false is perfectly fine. The max length. There is actually a max length. All right, the content length error. All right, let's leave it out for the moment. Let's not worry. Placeholder text is just going to be description of your project. Label equals description. Easy done. Oh, tooltip. I'm not going to worry about the tooltip. All right, cool. And yeah, then we end it off like so. All right, cool. I'm gonna fix the other ones too. So wherever there is text input component, I'm just gonna find one of those. We've done it on the project page, new page. We'll have an error because it's gonna be labeled. Now, what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna put label up there. That's easy done, and that's the quick fix. I'm also gonna move the label in here. Once again above there, because of that. Cool. Let's jump over in here. Let's just hit refresh. I'm just refreshing. So there we have it. Now, the text itself is a slight bit smaller than our default text and all that kind of stuff. We will actually be fixing this up in this very quickly. We also don't have any labels. We should be. Whoops. Yeah, we should have label description. Not a problem for the moment. Let's go to text area component. I'm going to close the other one. Oh yes, yes it is. So what we want to do, let's go over here first. I want to check what's actually happening with the data first. It's low-hanging fruit. Let's just jump into it. So we've got the anonymous component up here. We've got the base transition. All right, cool. We've got the project page. Sweet. Then we've got the card component. Sweet. And then we've got the card header, and then the text input component, and then we've got the text area component. Now we've got the label description, but it's not wanting to show up there. Yeah. All right, let's jump into here. Let's make sure that there's our problem. We also have something down here. That shouldn't be there. I'm double checking that we got label. We don't have title in here, which is good. So everything should refresh. There we go. If I move that off to the right, boom. There we go. Yeah, so that's pretty much it at the moment with the generic stuff. Alright. And hey, Bishan Patel, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Welcome, welcome. Alright, so we got the description down. Now, other things that I want to sort of know is whether or not people would be interested in this auto updating, or whether or not you have to actually click a button to update it. And thank you very much, Patel 007 for the follow. Welcome, welcome. I should say Patel's 007. Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for the follow. All right, so this is something I did want to discuss with the community and so forth like that. Because if you, for example, update this, how am I going to tell users that it's updated, if it met certain criteria and so forth like that? I mean, it's not too hard to actually do, have these auto updates and so forth like that. You would be, let's say the user type out, you wait 2 seconds until after the user has finished typing out, and then you sort of go, hey, we're going to update and so forth like that. Now, I could thread through a status being like, all right, cool, I'm updating something here. So if the user's typing in here, it will actually say something up here being like updating the title or so forth like that. But remember, that's also going to be a lot of work to implement, and I would have to figure out how I can actually do that. Now the good news is, if we look at the Django REST framework, partials, oh, not the serializers, no. Sorry, not partials, extra socks. Django REST, REST framework, part 8. Like a partial update. So we've got the put, we've got the post, we've got the connected, we've got a patch. Alright, cool. But the patch method is used to apply partial modifications to a resource. Now, if we and Patel's 007, hey, how you doing? I'm doing good, thank you very much. So yeah, hopefully you're doing well. Yeah, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content. So if we're doing a patch, if I set up the patch sort of stuff with NearBeach, what we could potentially do is have it so that if people update this, it'll partially update. Now, I kind of want to do that for certain cases. So for example, if someone changes the status, I kind of want to actually update that status in real time. So doing a partial update through that method, I think is great. Yeah, so I gotta, sorry, very John. I gotta figure that out. So yeah, this is going to be an open question for everyone, being like, all right, cool. For stuff like general details, did you want that, or did you want the buttons being like update general details or revert? Yeah, or if someone's typing something out, it gets updated pretty much automatically and stuff like that. But after a couple of seconds or stuff like that, I can't constantly keep sending back and forth stuff. So yeah. Yeah. So I'm a bit up in the air about that one, but we're going to move on to designing everything else at the moment. Now, the other thing you'll notice is that the text here is a lot smaller, and I don't like it. So I need to actually implement some of those changes. So going down into here, we've actually got input instead of text area. So that's going to be part of the problem. We've got the labels and we've got the span. I'm happy with that. This is looking a lot better now. We've got the blue text around it. However, the size of the text is still very small. And we're going to do a little tiny sad face. This is not a problem. I have got something at the styles level, I think. I think with the main, we've got all of these like P, label, button. We've got the input down here. Oops, socks, be careful. You know not to sit on the keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here. Right. Alright. And I'm going to do text area. Also going to format that. As you can see, the text is the right size now. So, in a lot of cases, we've got ad breaks. Sorry about that. There we go. Anyway, you get to see socks down here as she's she's cleaning me up at the moment. What was I doing? So yeah, we've got a global sort of CSS that covers just the global sort of stuff. So that's going to be the font style, font weights, and so forth like that. It won't be in depth. A lot of the stuff will be scoped at the scope level. And that will give us that sort of ability to fine tune it at that particular component level. There might certain changes for particular fields and so forth like that, that will definitely be different. However, if we notice that one particular attribute gets used over and over and over and over and over again, we'll bump it up into the global stuff. So yeah, anyway, welcome back everyone. A short ad break. There shouldn't be too many ads on Twitch at this time of year because Christmas has passed and so forth like that. So, but yeah, I'm doing it just in case. I know last year I had a Kiwi in the chat and they're like, yeah, we're not getting any ads whatsoever. I was like, yep, it's that time of year. So I'm kind of happy with how that's looking now. We don't have the min and max down there. Cool. So that will be the basic sort of thing. Now the other thing is, I'm pretty sure I've picked VueJS as the what you see is what you get editor, or however you want to pronounce it. Mainly because when I was going through the documentation and stuff like that, I can really break it down. Like I can create my own sort of themes and stuff like that and build it up. I think that's the wrong one. Wait, cloning medium with parchment. So yeah, going through this and being like, all right, cool. I can sort of create my own thing in here. I've got a lot of customization with it. That, and also it's a lot smaller. So if we actually go to installation, let's just copy this for a second. Let's go copy. This is the full build. Just gonna paste that in there. I'm just gonna, sorry, sucks. I need, oh, be careful, don't stand on the keyboard. You know, not to do that. I'm just gonna bump that off to the left, and I'm going to go to the network tab. We're going to reload. As you see, it's, ooh, careful socks, 200 kilobytes. That is the JS for the full thing. If we have and once again, we can compress this. If we have this, it's 20. So yeah, it's a lot smaller than Tiny Mouse. It has the ability for us to sort of design what we need in it, which will be helpful for example, image uploads and stuff like that. So yeah, it just means that we've got to sort of build this up. But yeah, shouldn't take, famous last words, it'll take forever. Let's not lie. I will make a note of what we currently do with NearBeach. So, for example, not to sit on the keyboard. For example, in NearBeach at the moment, I'll move that off to the other side. In the description, we've got undo, redo. Don't know if I could do that. We've got the basic sort of paragraph and stuff like that. As you see, as you can tell, it looks pretty horrible. We've just got the basic bolds and stuff like that. We can put in text areas and so forth like that, which, yeah, if we do it with this properly, I think, yeah. All right, so if we do a quick start, actually let's go installation, so learn full build, let's run code. So that will be just down here. We've got the get rid of formatting like here. There's other things that I want to actually input also. So for example, I want the images. I want code, I want tables and so forth like that. So yeah. There's the toolbar, so you can do images here and so forth like that. Yeah, those are all the custom stuff. That's that. I don't see code in there, but we won't overly complicate this. Oh, we've got history. So yeah, essentially I was pretty happy with this one. So yeah. But we're not including it into this just yet. This vertical slice will just be the layout sort of stuff, and we'll keep adding to it. The idea is that a lot of this stuff which we're implementing in the vertical slice will be copied and pasted over into NearBeach proper itself. And yeah, and then we'll handle everything from there. So yeah, all right. So what I want to do is I want to add in another card over here now. So we're going to go to the project page. We're all happy with this. We're like, all right, cool. Let's add in a card component. Oops. Let's add in, card header. I'm just having a quick look at the design. I don't have my finger on that one. It does kind of have a card header, so marked up here. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to delete all that, just do something like that. Easy done. So there's our little card head. Actually, no, I didn't mark up. No, it's the card header. Oh. Sorry, it's very hot here today. My brain's decided to pack up shop. Now, we've got a couple of drop downs that I got to do. So, we'll have status, priority, start date, end date, story points, and tags. We'll go in there. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go break at the end of all of those. Look. There we go. It's a pen, so it goes at the end. Sorry, I'm mistyping like this no tomorrow. Now, the one problem is you can see it goes down here, that and also taking up way too much space. What I actually want to do is I want this to be a column type of situation. So, just flung the pen around, didn't I? How can I do this? How can I do this? I don't know yet. It's been a while since I've actually jumped on the CSS. I know that there's a max width somewhere for this. So if we go, I'm going to move this off to the left. We go and have a look at this. We have, that's perfectly fine. And then we've got card. We've got a max width here on the card itself. Also the main itself, we actually don't have any properties on the main whatsoever about how we want it to be laid out. In this sort of case, what we're probably going to have to do is in the VueJS at the page level is create a div that fills out this whole entire thing. I think we've done something similar on the search page. So if we go into search and we go search page itself, you'll notice that there's a div in here, and we've purposely done that. And we've got control over that div too. We can do all the styles and scopes down here, and everyone will be happy. So I'm probably going to do that on here too. I'm also probably going to move these off into their own components themselves within the page. So this particular view will be very, very small. Yeah. All right, so we'll do that next. I just want to get this card component in where I'm going to be happy with it. So I'm going to pick sizes now. I'm streaming socks. She's just going to town. She's like, I don't know. Always with the live stream. She's got to earn the money somehow. All right. let's move that off to the right. What we're going to do is we're going to play around with this for a second. So straight off the bat, we don't actually have any min width or anything like that. I'm going to key in some code that I'm not going to be using. And I'm just going to go display flex. Easy done. Now that's going to cause some problems straight away because, you know, these cards are expecting certain width and stuff like that, like there, which is definitely not ideal. Yes. It's not the padding. It's the margin auto. Yeah, it's definitely the margin auto. So if I get rid of the margin auto on both of those, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? And I don't know why it's stuck at that size. Yeah, that's a bit weird. Do I have a max width on the body? No. No, because the main takes care of everything. I'm probably going to sneeze in a minute. Alright, not a problem. There's it centered, but yeah, once again, we're just getting it super close up. Even that doesn't. Alright. No problem. Let's simplify this. So, first, what I want to do on the project page, I want to create two new folders. I want to call the first one General Details. I've done that wrong. I'm going to rename it. Alright, General Details. General Details, sorry, keeping it, getting rid of the pluralization of everything. And then what we want to do, view component, General Detail component, like so. What we're going to do is we're essentially just going to cut all of this out for the moment, and we're just going to paste it in here like so. Then we're going to go in here, we're just going to remove what we no longer need. I'm just going to cut all of this out. I'm just going to go bang, bang, bang. There we go, easy. So that's going to be one component. The description, yeah, that's all fine in there. Cool. So we're happy with all of that. The next thing is I'm going to cut that one out, but first what we've got to do is we've got to div class equals project information. That's going to be out of div for the whole entire thing. We're going to then create a new folder, and that's going to be called properties component. All right. We're just adding that one in very, very quickly. We're just going to grab all of this. We're just going to cut it out in here. We're just going to paste it in here. This is all happy. We're all happy. And then what we're going to do is we delete those. We're going to delete those 3 lines. We're just going to go in here and we're just going to go general detail component. I'm just going to do something like that, and then we're going to go properties component like that. Easy done. All right. That's all we're doing. And I just remember I didn't have NYT. Yeah, she's cute. So yeah, sorry I didn't have the YouTube chat up. I've just spotted it. Terribly sorry. Yeah. She is very adorable. Causes a lot of problems though. Now, we've got project information. Project information still, once again, very, very small. I don't know why it is small. I'm gonna hit refresh. Okay. That's a little bit better. I don't know what's causing it to be that size. I'm gonna have a look at my CSS at the top level. So we've got all the fonts, we've got all that, we've got all the buttons. Oh, sorry. We shouldn't have anything dealing with the size. So what I'm going to do, so we've got the project information, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to say display flex, and then I'm going to go justify content, and I'm going to say actually, no, I'm not going to say anything. Not justify. No, justify will be center, but and then align, not align items. This will be space, sort of. Command. Hang on. Did I went right past the display gap 10 pixels? No. Display flex. Yeah. What we want is let's know. Space between. Display flex, yep. Order, yep, that's fine. Flex direction, so we do want to set flex direction. So I'm just going to put this over here. Flex direction, that's not going to be column, that's going to be a row. Easy done, we'll just send that. So it's in stone. Flex wrap, we're not too worried about flex wrap at the moment. Flex flow, column wrap, justify content. Oh, I've gotten this wrong the whole entire time. Justify content is not center, it's space between. Okay, cool, that's what we want. Now, the one problem is we have padding with the margins. mucked that up, didn't I? All right. I'm gonna do something, but I'm gonna have a look at what. I'm gonna have a look at what Bootstrap does. So Bootstrap also has cards and so forth like that, but I'm specifically looking at the sizing of them. All right. Available sizing utilities. Yeah, all right, cool. Not what I wanted. I was gonna say putting them in pixel sizes and stuff like that, and then being like, all right, cool, these are gonna be the sizes. Which probably is the best way of doing this. All right, cool. Let's just refresh this. I'm happy with that. What I'm going to do, project page, I'm going to go down here. Let's add in some scoping straight away. What we want is project information. We've got something like this. What we'll have is display flex. Flex direction is not going to be a column, it's going to be a row. The justify content is going to be space around. Will that also work? So space around, easy done. Now with the general detail components, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into those implementations. So I'm going to start off with the general one. We've got the card component. I'm actually going to go into the implementation of, the definition of the card component itself. This is it. This is all there is with the card component. So as you can see down here, we've got a max width of the var card max width, and we're going to actually have a search for that, and as you see, it's here. It's been set up at the root. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to have a couple. We're not going to have, we'll still have a max. But I'm going to have a default in there. So what I'm going to have is I'm going to have small card width. I'm just going to put 400 pixels for the moment. We'll have a medium card width. I'm going to see. Plastic, sorry. I should turn off the mic, sorry. I'm going to say 600 pixels. We're then going to have a large card width. We're going to have that at 768 pixels. And then we're going to have an ultra large. I'm just going to say that's going to be 1400 pixels. If that lets me type that in. Right, cool. Oh, sorry. I have missed chat also on Twitch. Can I ask you about your data strategy? Since building a measurement system, are you going to use GraphQL or stick with REST API? I'm going to stick with REST API just because I know it the best. That's all. That's the reason why. Later down the track, it might be an option. Personally, I like to create a TRCP like hook, but for REST API. Because I feel like combining the best of both worlds. Oh, fair enough. Just curious, do you have a promo code for JetBrains? No, I don't, sadly. I get JetBrains for free because NearBeach is an open source project and they have an open source license for it. It just means that everything I work on stream is open sourced. So, yeah. Alright. I also need to view the time for those coming in. I'm terribly sorry. I don't need the mod icons. There we go. Oh, I can't see the times anymore. Alright. Okay, so what I want to do is this max will then become probably the largest. We'll figure this one out in a second. Now, the reason why I picked that number is because we have it set here. So we've got small, medium, large, extra large. And what I'll do is I'll copy all of those. And that's it. That's what we'll do. So with the small, we've got 640. And then the medium, we'll have 768. With the large, we'll have 1024. With the extra large, and instead of ultra large, we'll keep the name consistent. So extra large screen, we'll actually have it down to 1280. And then that will be 2x large screen, and that will be 1536 pixels. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out wherever we actually do this. We only do it in one spot, which is here. So I am going to get rid of it here. And then this will break. And then what we have is medium card width in there. Easy done. So yeah. So that should still do those. We've still got a problem with those cards being like that. I'm not happy with that at all. So I'm going to figure this one out. But first, what I want to do, because we set it at max width, so that's the normal sort of size, and then if we go small, and that's got to be an and dot small, and then we'll have max width as bar small card width, easy done, and dot medium. Don't need to do medium, and dot large, and max width large, yep, cool, and dot extra large. This is filling out that pretty much automatically, and dot 2x large. Oh, I don't think that is going to work. I think I've got to do XX large and have that as 2x large. Just double checking the global variables. Yeah, oops, I forgot to put in card in here. Easy fix. And we'll just hit an ad break again on Twitch. Alright, cool. Hopefully everyone's going well tonight. So yeah. Can't believe how many ads is that now? 3. So yeah, hopefully everyone's going well. Oh, I'm dropping my pen. We've got Socks now over there on the windowsill. She's like, yep, I'm looking out the window. Not much to look at the moment, but you know, she's having fun. Hopefully you guys are having fun too. So yeah, we've got about 50 seconds left of the ads, and yeah. Oh, nearly dropped it. Caught it though. That's good. So yeah. Yeah, this is a bit of a doozy, this little problem, but I think I can solve it. Trying to remember why it's shrinking. It's just like, yeah. I was just hoping it would be like, boop. We can always hope, but it never happens. So yeah, we've got about 15 seconds left of the ads. And then we'll get right back into it. So, yeah. Alright, 5 seconds. Alright, cool. Let's get back into it. Welcome back everyone. So we've just added in all the different card sizes. So now what I can actually do is in the general with the card component, I can just go class equals XX large, and that should pass through that detail where the card itself, there you go. Oh, it might want XX width. Oh, God damn it. And keep coding forever. Welcome, welcome. How are you going? Hopefully you're going well. I'll just do that. And then in card component, XX large. And then in here, XX large. And then I'll just go X large card width. Large card width. Have I mucked up on, I've mucked up on something, haven't I? Yeah, I've done screen instead of width. I'll just replace both of those and just put the extra X in right now. It's always something simple with me. There we go. So if we actually highlight this card now, yeah, the max width is huge. So yeah, you're doing good. Oh, that's good to hear. Doing some Golang embedded template files. Okay, fair enough. I've never used Golang before. So yeah, embedded template files, not template. Template. No, I read that wrong. All right. So we've got the project information, which covers everything. It's just these then have the one issue where margin auto is just huge. And I'm wondering if I can just key in a width like that. Seems to work. All right. I'm just going to another page. I'm just going to refresh so everything gets saved, you know, moved out of it. If I click on here, and I go down here and I go width 100%, it's not going to change anything yet, but if I, for example, start shrinking the screen, you should see it go into mobile mode, and instantly I can tell that we can see the hot pink because it's escaping everything, and it's that what width 100% that's doing that, and something else. Refresh. Oh, there's something else also there. Shoot. Let's try another screen. Let's do new project. All right, cool. I'm gonna refresh. I'm just going to bump into this. We've got the card here. We want to do width 100%. Yeah, it instantly escapes out of that. Yeah, the width is 100%. When you bump back in, nothing. So what I'm going to do, get out of that, and we're going to, once again, go back into project information. I'm going to give these a class called fill, or fill out. The idea is that will take care of all the default sort of stuff. So we're going to go into here, we've got extra large, and I'm going to go fill out. With the other component, I'm going to say small and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So this the general details. This is the project component. We've got the card component here. We're going to go class equals small fill out, like so. And then what I want to do is in the card component itself, so we've got the card and dot fill out. We're going to change some stuff in here. So depending on the card size itself, as you see, we've got a couple of media properties here. I'm just going to copy those. I'm actually going to copy all three of these because the padding has something to do with the width. Alright, we're just gonna do that. These paddings are just reference at the moment. So what we want to do is we want to go width is going to be calculate, and then what we've got to do is 100% minus 0.5 rem. And then in here it'll be width is calculate 100% minus, I've already made a mistake. That's top and bottom, that's left and right. So width will be calc 100% minus 1 rem. The width here will be calc 100% minus 2 rem, because there's one here. And then we're just going to copy this, we're going to paste this, and we're just going to put a 4, we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to see how this works now. There we go. Alright, cool. Now the problem is they are actually touching. And when we do something like that, and it doesn't hit the max width though. Alright. Another thing I want to do line item start. Okay, that didn't do anything. Might not be items. Align content. Where's my CSS stuff? Alright. Flex start, flex end. That's kind of what I want. Flex start. Alright, cool. Let's justify content. Oh, sorry. Align item. I was right, it was align items. I know why. It's the margin. So I'm just having a quick think how I can actually solve this. The idea is I still want these card components in here to actually extract out a lot of the boilerplate stuff. Adding in some of these is perfectly fine, but if we start getting really, really complicated where we need to be like, all right, in these particular cases we need this, this, and this, and this, it's going to be easier just to be like, all right, cool, this hits 95% of our use cases, those 5% ones we're going to have custom. And this is headed towards that bit very, very quickly, which I don't like. I mean, the card components is used pretty much everywhere now. And I'm just wondering if I could do something like margin top 0. Right, we're just entering a number at the moment, but in the main, what we could do is we could have some margin top 0, margin top, margin top 0, like so. I don't want to use important. And then this is in here. There's margin top 0, but it's not important. Yeah, it's crossed out because the thing is taken over, and if I do put important in there, it does do that. Still need. Oh, all right. I mean, that doesn't hurt. I can see myself using margin top 0 in a number of different places. Works when you want to get this lining up. If I hit refresh. So I got something like that. But at the same time, I'm just going to remove it. I'm going to go to our card component. We've still got the fill out. Now, up here, we just do the margin auto. Easy done. But I might, with the fill out, go margin, and I might go 0.5 rem, or I might go 0 and then 0.5 rem, like that. So when we're doing a fill out, we're like, we kind of know that you're gonna have this fill out the whole entire thing, and then we can do something like this. There you go, you're on stream. I think that's just going to be easier for us dealing with all of this. Now, this one isn't small. So we don't have the max width taking over. Oh no, yeah we do. We just want an extra small one. All right, cool. We'll do an extra small one. That's not going to be a problem. So we go to the general variables up here. We're just going to go extra small card width. We're probably going to go 400 pixels, and then I'm going to do one extra small. And yeah, 320 pixels. We'll play around with this in a little bit. I know I spelled this wrong. He's done. So in here, well, we also want to do the same thing. N dot extra small. We just want to do max width. No, not that. It's just going to be extra small, and then I want to just copy those 3 lines, and then I just want to do that, and I just want to go in here, and I just want to do that, and now we can play around with stuff in here. So what I can do is I can go extra small, or I can go extra small, and that's how it'll look like. Now we do have space between, but We've got space around, sorry. Not a fan. Not a fan of that. I know it uses the whole space, but I kind of want to join them up a little bit better. I'll get rid of that. Yeah, I think that's... Oh, but... Now it's not centered. Oh, wait. Hang on a minute. What am I doing? I'm going crazy. I've got space around. Center. Cool. And I'm just going to refresh. Alright, so what I'm actually looking at is, you guys can't actually see, but over... Oh, that one's got to be fixed up. I'm just looking at the layout of the whole page. I know you guys can't see that, but yeah, I will get to it. So what we want here is, I'm just going to put extra small, just exaggerate stuff. So the idea being is, yeah, those two will still stick together. Is that really extra small? I'm just going to refresh. I don't think that is. Okay. That's 300 pixels. Okay. That's fine. With my global stuff. It's apparently 320 pixels. Alright. Now the other thing I have a problem with is there's a head one. There's a header one. We actually... Oh, this is going to be a problem. No, it's not going to be a problem actually. Excuse me for 1 second. So still the general sort of stuff is we still want project details. Still want that. We're happy with that. Down here we don't want the card header. What we actually want is we want a header 2, and then we go properties. That will knock that down. However, we're going to hijack the margin off the top for that and all that kind of stuff. So down here, what we're going to do is we're going to go H2 margin top is going to be 0. That knocks that all the way up to that. However, what we want is we want margin. We want a 0 for the top and bottom. Sorry, 0 for the top, 0 for the side. I'm going to say 1.5 REM for the bottom and then 0 again. So we end up with something like that. That looks a little bit nicer and everything's sort of spaced. Now that is a H2. That's a really big H2. It is something we want to bring attention to the user, but I don't think it's that important. Bit too small. I think that's perfect. Right, so you got the project details over here, then you got the properties over on that side. All right, easy done. So another thing is that's meant to be down there at the moment. There's actually a way for text areas to say how many lines I want, right? Yeah, rows. All right, cool. I'm going to put that in right now. So we've got the text area, and I'm just going to go rows equals, I'm just going to put 10. I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to refresh. So I'm happy with that. All right, cool. And as you see, this expands to the screen. That's okay. If we were on a little screen and stuff like that, I'm going to then change this around. so don't you worry. That column will disappear, and there'll be parts that will show in here and so forth like that. So yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. I just want to get this layout done correctly first. So we've got that done. So we've got the text area. I'm just gonna close other tabs. I'm just gonna close that. I'm just neating up my workshop at the moment. So we'll need a couple of drop downs over here. Now, I've been meaning to figure these out. So, the problem is I just haven't done that. I haven't sat down, been like, all right, cool, this is how I want these to actually work. So for the moment, we're going to just put in just text edits. And over the next couple of weeks, we'll be working in our own drop downs and so forth like that. So for example, the status and the priority will be drop down. There'll be single select. We'll also need multiple drop down selects too, where we can add in, so for example, you might want to pick multiple different users and groups and stuff like that, and add them to a project. Yeah. But we can start with the start date and end date. I'm just going to go over here because we can go date, input type date, over here. There we go. So it's going to be something this simple at the start. All right, and then we're going to CSS the hell out of that to make it look nice. Look at how we want it to, make it look how we want it to look. I think I'm stuck to my chair. All right, here we go, sorry. Sweating that much. All right, so going back over here, we'll have the properties component. So we're going to be happy with all of this. What we need to do then is we're just going to have the text input component. We need an ID equals status. It's a string. We're also going to put that like that. So we need an ID. We don't no longer need that. We need to import that. So we need to go import text input component. That's all done. I'm just having a look at what we did with the new project again. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. There we are, new project. Yeah, I'm just going to copy all of this. I'm just going to paste it in twice. Alright, cool. We need to do the field validation. Socks has disappeared, so I'm just going to move that up to there, like so. Alright, cool. What we need to do is define modals. That will be const title model equal model. That will be something like this. It'll be. Hang on. I've mucked this up already. I know I've mucked this up. Because yeah, it'll be that and then the options. All right. So const title model. Sorry, not model. Title model. Equals define model. We've got the title model like so. We're going to have type of string. Default is in progress. Required is true. I don't think I need required. No, I just need those two. All right, cool. All right, the next thing I need to do is the validation field. So this is just going to be time data. This will be const field validation And that will be, sorry, my brain's not, okay, record, yep. String and boolean. And we'll have title model equals false. In this sort of case, it ain't the title model, it'll be the status model. And we'll go status model, easy done. So this will then become status model. Then this will become status model. And then what were the other fields? I've got them written down here, don't I? Yeah, status we're done, priority. Priority model, we're just going to set this up here. That's just like that. Like so, easy done. And then, yeah, down here it'll be priority model. Actually, they'll both be true at the start. That's fine, because they're filled out. So that will be that and that. Then we've got story points, and then we've got tags. And tags, I've got to figure out how we're going to implement it. Because once again, I want something where a user can click on something and then just add tags in very, very quickly. A lot of people do the multi-select and stuff like that. I don't think I like those. Yeah. We'll come back to that one. But as you see, this is popping in really, really well. Now, another thing we might, now we'll do this in drop downs and stuff like that, but you'll also notice that there's quite a bit of space in between these form groups. And what we might do is pass through another class to be like, hey, let's actually make this compact. Instead of having such a big gap between all of these, let's actually have no margin at the bottom. Which I think will be good in these sort of cases, because these fields all sort of relate to each other, and I think we could make them compact. We can also sort this around, so we got the story points and the tags more up at the top, along with we've got title and title in here. I've got to change that at the moment, and they're both. Alright, cool. Let's do that right now. So that will be status, and that will be priority. And another thing is, with the drop down, I might do a specific case for the priority drop down. Anyway, it is that time on Twitch. I'm going to run off and get myself some water because I've been streaming for an hour and a half. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. And we're about 10 seconds left with the ads. So yeah. Okay. it is a boiling in here. It's definitely summer now. So yeah, welcome back everyone. Let's get back into it. So yeah, we'll just change that for status and priority. And I might do the same thing with the status. Actually have a specific drop down for the status. The reason being is I can color coordinate stuff that's in there. So for example, we could, we've got higher order statuses, which are like blocked, normal, in progress, and complete. And what I could potentially do is color coordinate it. You can have your own statuses and stuff like that, and just at a very quick glance, you can be like, all right, cool. This is definitely a blocked task. Anyway, I'm going to move into standing mode. I am a little bit sick and tired of sitting down at the moment. My creaky chair is making even more creakier noises than usual, and it is probably going to break very soon. Hopefully not on stream. Oh, I've got to get rid of those. So required is true. We're just going to get rid of those. We're just going to get rid of those. I'm going to get rid of that. Tooltip I'm getting rid of. Cool. Yeah, we'll make that really small. Like so. There we go. And Bad Go Guy, how are you going? Yeah, it's going well. I'm literally just throwing together the project information to sign right at the moment. So we've got a little mock-up. I'm just implementing it right now. We're building a couple of components, whilst also not building a couple of other ones too. So yeah, we'll come back to the status and the priority ones. Actually, I might try and tackle those ones tonight, because I think I can. Yeah, might be able to. So yeah, all right. We're going to do the start and end date ones. And then we've got some story point ones, which will be a counter field, so forth like that. I've kind of set something up already to do that. Problem is, it's all in Tailwind with the CSS. I've got to re-implement it. However, I've got a lot of my test cases and stuff like that for it. So yeah. Why don't you use the drop-down menu? As in like a select sort of drop-down? I just haven't set that up yet, that's why. For the statuses. So the idea is, yeah, it'll be literally, you just click on it, all the statuses will pop up down here, and you click the appropriate one. And what I'll do is, because it's custom enough, I'll create a specific component for the status and the priority, so that way it's all color coordinated. So you can click on it and instantly go, all right, those colors mean that it is completed or normal or blocked or in the backlog. Whereas you can have different sort of statuses. So you might not want to use those particular statuses, which is fine. Hey, Socks, you want to come up? All right, come on. No. Say hi to everyone, Socks. Next up, I'm going over here to cause trouble. Oh, yeah, no, stepping on the mouse again. Alright, so yeah, let's do the start date and end date one, and then we'll come back to everything else. So, I'm just going to minimize all of these because oh god, I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm just getting really confused with all my layout. I just want to it down and then go from the bottom. So with the prefab, we want to right hand click, we want to go new directory, and then we want date time component. She's going really well. She's dealing with the heat very well. She's about to lose a lot of fluff. So yeah, Socks is eating, drinking healthily. She's meowing like there's no tomorrow, causing trouble like she usually does. So, yeah. Alright, I'm just going to create a datetime component in here. What I'm going to do is Socks doesn't hunt. She's a bit lazy when it comes to that. She'll eat flies, and that's about it. I've never been presented with a mouse in my whole entire... well, Socks has never presented me with a mouse. I've had other cats present me with a mouse before. So, yeah. She fights Patty, still. Every now and then, she'll fight Patty. Especially if I'm on the bed with her, she's very angry when he hops up on the bed then. So, yeah. Alright, I'm going to do another div here. I'm just going to do that, actually. Yeah, I'm going to keep it like that. We will have styles for this, so we'll have datetime component. Display will be flex direction will be column. Align item, you won't do that. We'll fill out the items across the whole thing. So in here, what we'll have, very much like the other components that we have built in here. So for example, the text input. Actually, yeah, we'll be doing form group. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's keep this consistent. So I'm gonna get rid of this. This is why I extracted out a lot of this. So we'll have form group like that. We'll have to import form group from app components. That would be prefab, because it's prefab. We've got form group. And then we've got form group.view. There we go. And then from there, we'll have the label. This will be for and the get ID and all that kind of stuff. Once again, this is going to be extremely similar to this. I am quite literally just copying it. I'm deleting that one. I'm going to paste it in. It might be an idea that I just sort of extract out a lot of this layer. I don't know if I can extend the view composables. Use ables. Extend. Alright, extended override components. So you got your template, you got your script. That's got that. Special component view. Alright. I mean, I can extend this out using slots and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm doing quite a lot of repeat code in this sort of case. So, there are a few changes though. So is required, that will still be in here. The label will still be in here. The min length and max length, data, not needed. Placeholder text, not needed. Tooltip text and so forth like that, that's required. So that's the props, the model, the define model itself. It's got to be date time. Alright, give me 2 seconds. VueJS, define model, options. Actually, I think I can get away with model. Type is going to be date. required is going to be true. This will be, actually no, let's not. Yeah, because we're no longer making date times mandatory in NearBeach. We're getting rid of that functionality. So when you create a new project and stuff like that, all of this will just, work. Famous last words. Sorry, I'm just having a quick think. Yeah, I know, Socks. I can actually have a quick think. She's like, what? Sweetie, I can't pick you up. You're gonna have to come over here. Sorry, moving on. I don't like. Oh, that person stopped streaming. All right. All right, cool. Yeah, so at NearBeach, with the start and end date, you don't need to fill them out anymore. That is just a pain point with creating projects and tasks and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, all right, cool. There are cases where you'll need to set an end date and a start date. For example, for it to appear on a sprint. However, we're going to make it so that you can do that. All right. We'll need has error message going through. Yep. The get ID. Yep. Cool. The check validation, won't need any of that anymore. In fact, that could be condensed. So with the label, so all of that will work as required. The input, this is going to be different now. So it will no longer have a placeholder text because, well, the type is going to be the date. There's not going to be any placeholder text. And then we've got the verifications and all that kind of stuff. And then down here, this should all just sort of fit in. So it's similar enough, but it's different enough that, yeah, all right, cool. So what we want to do is in the properties component is we want to actually import to here. So we're going to go date time component. I'm just going to end it like that. So we're just going to YY, and we're just going to delete those two at the moment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go in here, we're going to go vModel equals start date model, and the label will equal the start date, and then the is valid equals really? Come here. Oh, sweetie. She's like, no, I'm not happy. No, I'm gonna have to lick you. No. Alright, don't jump down then. We're not worried about the is valid, but we do need to set this up very, very quickly. So we need to go const start date model equals define model. Start date model. This is gonna be type date. Done. No default at the moment. It's just going to be null. And then we've also got end date up here. So const end date model equals define model. That's going to be end date model. And that's just going to be type is date. And we're just going to format all of this. Gonna go down here. We're gonna edit this one very, very quickly. Boom. We've got our V model. That's just gonna be end date model. Easy done. The label's just gonna be end date, and we're gonna see how it renders out. So there we go. Now, the reason why I've done it like this is I'm not told. It means I don't need to worry about any of the mobile sort of stuff. It's also a lot better for encode localhost, thank you. It's also better for accessibility and stuff like that. So as you see, this renders it slightly different. If we go to Beyond Compare, let's actually see how they're not Beyond Compare, sorry, browser stack. So there's a lot of tools I use. I'm just gonna log in. Oh, I'm logged in. Thank you, Socks. You've done that like 4 times today. Let's go for an Android. We'll just do Google Chrome. What I'll do, I'll bump that up there so you guys can actually see what's going on. I'm gonna ignore that. I've got to. Alright, I've got to do the localhost sort of stuff. Stop fucking selecting, Jesus Christ. Local testing. Sucks. Done. Stay away from my mouse. All right. Let's go live testing. Chrome. So I'm gonna have to leave it like this. I think opening up the console caused issues. Alright, so download, alright, cool, downloads, yeah, replace, just in case they've done something recently, extract, yeah, extract, replace all, close. All right, cool. We're just gonna go over here. We're just gonna open up a new tab. We're just gonna go CD to the downloads. We've got the browser stack stuff. We've got it right there. So the command itself should be this little tiny thing, and we're just gonna go like this. Yay! All right. Excuse me. Local testing enabled. So we don't want this. We want to click up here. We want to go local host, and then it's 5173. Which brings up all of this. Cool. We want to click on this. We want to hit project. I just want to go to any one of these projects, it's fine. Once again, this is a vertical slice, not much is going to happen. Ooh, all right, so that's going to be a little bit of a problem, but if I click on one of those, that's what it brings up. All right, what I'm going to do is switch browser. I want to jump onto iOS. We're going to go on to 15 Safari. Once I'm going to go up here, yeah, we've got the date. I'm just wondering if there's a date and time, which I'm going to actually do next. All right. So we've done this, we click on this, and then, yeah, that brings up all of that. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to end my session. All right, cool. I'm going to go over here. I think date covers both date and date time. Not 100% sure. We'll figure that out in a second, but I do need to go down here and go date time. And And then over here, when we click, oh, there's no datetime thingy. Oh, hold on. So datetime local. Datetime local. Whoops, went right past it. So if we go into here, yeah, we can do this, and then we can click on the time, and so forth like that. All right, cool. And I think, yeah, the Android and iOS will handle that. All right, so that width just fits in. Only problem is, datetime local, no, that will handle the, should be able to handle American dates and so forth like that. So, yeah, I'm not going to complain about that. Okay. Yes, all right. Next thing we got to do is story points. And then tags. Like, yeah, I don't know what to do with tags. Because with the tags, you want the user to add in a tag very, very fast, or multiple tags very, very fast. I've got an idea. I can do with a drop-down box with add tag on it, and as I add the tag in, the tags will appear underneath automatically. When they delete stuff, it'll reappear up there. All right, cool. And what I'll probably end up doing is with these form groups, once again, we've got a margin at the, all right. I'm minimizing everything so I can find everything. So there's our source, there's our styles, there's our main. If I go margin top 0, I'm gonna go margin top 0 important. If I go margin bottom 0, margin bottom 0 is going to be important. I'm going to keep those tags in there, those class attributes in there. Sorry, classes in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that. I'm going to have a HR in there. All right. And then down here, so I'm probably going to change this in the near future. I'm going to change it from being a datetime component into something a lot better. Something better. Because we can put the all right, what I'm thinking of is with the date time is we can make it so that the start date and end date are in one component. That way I'm only calling one component, and it'll call through down to this perfectly fine, but then I can add on extra logic at that level. that will be needed everywhere. So for example, if someone changes the start date past the end date, you kind of want the end date to all of a sudden equal the start date. Or if they change the end date to before the start date, have the start date equal the end date. That kind of fun stuff. But in the meantime, I'm going to go margin bottom is going to be 0. That will compact those together a little bit better. And I'm going to do the same with the other properties too. So for example, with the text input component, we can't pass that down, can we? Yeah. Because at the form group level. Damn it. This is just a little bit of problem solving that you got to do when you're sort of thinking this through. Alright. So what we want to do is we want to have this particular form group have a margin bottom of 0. Like so. And I think that looks really, really nice, having those little bits actually closer together instead of so spaced out. And yeah, have the HR to be the distinguisher, being like, all right, cool, here's the properties for the status, the priority, story points. We might put a line in being like, here's tags. All right, here's another line for start date and end date. Yeah, how do you like that socks? She's like, yeah, I'm kind of like it. I'm pissed off. Oh, sweetie. You're very hot and bothered at the moment. All right. So I'm just giving this a good think. I think in this sort of case, what we can do for the text edit. So if we go in the source, we've got the now we're just adding more attributes and stuff like that, and I don't want to. The idea is I don't want to overly complicate this. I've got to have it so other people can quickly jump in and so forth like that. Whilst we still have these little tiny tweaky stuff in here, it is something that can be managed by anyone else. So someone could be like, oh, okay, cool, I'm going to use this component and I just need to pass through these particular attributes. This will be part of prefab, this will be part of text input. Oh, I've got that on the right. And the idea is we've got the form group straight away. Yeah, I don't know. Ad in progress. All right, cool. We got another ad happening, and as you can see, Socks is giving myself a very decent clean at the moment. So yeah, hopefully everyone's going well. We're slowly getting there. It's just we're gonna, once again, the reason why we're doing these vertical slices is we're finding all the problems like this. Right now, we're figuring them out and being like, all right, cool, this is how we're going to build the building blocks so that when we build other components of NearBeach and so forth like that, it's going to be really simple. We'll just be like, all right, cool, you just need this and this and this. And then everything just gets built like that. That's the number one plan. Yeah. And that way, moving forward, if we've got anything new or we need to do something different, yeah. And also we're keeping the look consistent too, which needs work on. So, all right, welcome back, everyone. So the problem is I can't pass anything into here. I don't know if CSS doesn't really look at the parents, but we don't want that. We could throw in a flag to state whether something's compacted or not. However, if we do that, we could look at something like buttons in here. All right, cool. So you got those type of buttons, sure, but then you've got large buttons and so forth like that where you pass through a class and it follows all the way down. We could potentially do that. That won't be hard to do. Yeah, that won't be hard to do. Oh, sorry. It's also one of those things where we want to default this. And then if we do it for the text edits and stuff like that, we've got to do it for all the other components. In which case then we need not mixin now, not composables. I keep forgetting. I think it is composables. Or compositions. No, composable. One of the things. Don't know yet. This is the problem. Alright. I'm probably going to leave it like this for the moment. I'm going to remove the margin 0 down here. The reason being for this is I need to find an elegant solution for this. I'm thinking we can do a prop which defaults to default. We can have compact, normal, or default, and large. So for the sizing around stuff. Yeah. Which could help because then we could do stuff where this has a lot smaller text than the user is expecting, so it draws less attention. So what I mean is if we refresh this, I go over here and I'm like, all right, for this particular label, we want the font size to actually be 1 rem instead. Actually, I'm just going to do it on the element. Oh, that doesn't, I don't do inheritance like that. And then line height is going to be 1 point. And then the margin bottom is going to be a lot closer and so do something like that. So that might be an idea where I can pass down a class and stuff like that where I can, or props to actually implement something like this, where all of a sudden you can see the status is a lot smaller than the priority, and that kind of works. Because all of a sudden the user's dealing with the project details because that's a lot bigger, and over here it's just smaller sort of information. You're like, all right, cool, that's not as required information. I think that works really, really well. And it's something we can implement on all the components that we're going to build. Which then means it gives us that extra sort of legal space with the design and stuff like that, with just breaking it down into simple components. Okay, I like that. I like that idea. Alright. But I'm not going to implement it yet, because I'm going to have a think. Because at the moment, these text sizes, I forgot what they are, 1.25. Right, so we've got a little bit of wiggle room. If it's on mobile, oh god, what have I done? It's still 1.25. Okay, for some strange reason I thought the desktop would be a little bit smaller, but I guess not. I've also got to fix this up once I get to the mobile sort of view. But that's next. That is next. We'll deal with wraparounds and so forth like that. I think wraparound will be really, really good. Yeah, the idea being, yeah, that breaks at one particular point. That's perfectly fine. All right. I'm not going to worry about those yet. Let's do the story points. So I'm going to open up this. I'm going to go into site. I'm going to go into the view test bed. I think it's a number picker test I did. Yeah, I think this is it. And then what I want to do, prefab, I want to go number picker. I'm just going to paste those in. Easy done. We are going to go into the number picker. We're going to change a lot of this, so don't worry about that. There's a lot of classes and stuff like that in here. This was originally how I was going to do things for this particular thing. Clearly we're not. So we're going to go in here, we're going to change this up, we're going to do how we're now going to write these components. We've also got a bunch of tests in here. So yeah, there's a bunch of tests which I did, and I think this is just at the basic. I didn't wrap any of these around in describe. So the idea being is you group up similar sort of tests and do them as either do them as describe. That way, when doing the tests, you can sort of break down at what point it broke, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, I was quite happy with this, though we're going to change it completely. So yeah. All right, straight off the bat, model, define number. Yep, all right, cool. That is going to be somewhere else because the props will go first. Like so, and then define models. That's perfectly fine. This is computed. That's all computed, and then define methods. And these are all the methods. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. Now, straight off the bat, we're going to use form group. Alright, so I need to import that. That's not going to be a problem. So that would be import. Whoops, fat fingering. Form group in here. That's from at components. That's prefab. That's form group, and that's form group.view. We're all happy now. We're going down. So all of this will belong under there now. Done. This will look terrible. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put it on the form itself. So we've got the story points. I'm just going to do another HR here. Deal with the tags in a little bit. We're going to get rid of the breakpoint with that. That's perfectly fine. And what we want to do is we're going to have down here number picker. I'm going to end it. Now with the number picker, we've got label. Story points, like so. We'll need an ID. Why use Vue? Just because, no particular reason. When I was back in August 2020, when I did the rewrite for NearBeach, I essentially knew Vue more than I knew React, and I'm just sticking with it. And I still know Vue a lot more than I know React, and yeah, I'm just sticking it like that. And that's the only reason, really. I've used React before, I've used Angular before, I want to learn Svelte eventually, but yeah, for NearBeach, we just went Vue, stuck with it. So yeah, this will be, what was the story points? And I just realized I don't have the ID for any of these. So this will be ID equals, this is priority. This will be ID equals, actually this one's priority, whoops. And it just needs to be something like that. Alright, cool. So we've got the label, we need a V model equals, and this will be story points model. It's done. We'll just create that right now. And actually, it's after all that. So const story point model equals define model story point model. This will be type number. Default is just going to be 0. By default, yeah. That should be story points model. So yeah, we've got that at the moment. We should do the is valid and all that kind of stuff. That should be status model. That should be RT model. I'm gonna keep those in for the moment. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, I don't have any technical reasons why I chose Vue over anything else. That's why. All right, we've got start date model, and then we'll have end date model. All right, cool. Won't worry about that. Oh yeah, we've got to mix something up. Okay, not a problem. We've got the priority to the, we'll have the start date model, end date model. Those are in the incorrect spots. And then this will be story point model. Right, we're just making them all true at the moment. Yeah, I need to emit something up for the number. So straight off the bat, we define the emits at the top of the page. That's just that. That's coming up with a little thingy because yeah, it just does at the moment. But what we'll do is we'll do that in a minute. yeah, we'll have max and minimums. We've got to deal with the. All right, cool. Yep. All right. So, how does the number look? It looks terrible. All right, this absolutely just does not look nice, and we're going to make it look nice. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this plus and minus, maybe for an we'll see. All right, cool. So let's go back into the number picker. Let's scroll down. So how do we do the label at the current moment? Right, we don't do it like that. What we do is I can just copy and paste that from there, and that's perfectly fine. We don't have any tooltips or anything like that. So what I'm going to also do is I'm going to copy some of our properties that we need. I'm just going to put them down at the bottom like this, and we're just going to go through them and, you know, get rid of what we don't need. So is required, is needed. The label, yeah, we kind of want the user to key in the label. That is very important. Max value and min value, we're fine with. Stepping increment, we're fine with. That means that these are going. Placeholder text isn't needed, but these are. So essentially you can put through tooltips and so forth like that. And Scotty B, how are you? Talking to you this morning on battery power and cell phone hotspot. Power has been out for about an hour now. Ooh. Well, alright. I hope your batteries do last, and I hope that the power comes back. Because it's annoying when the power goes out and all that kind of stuff. So, and how are you, Scotty B? Hopefully going well. Excluding the power outage. Alright, we need the ID. Oh, that's how we're getting the ID. Alright. Hang on. I don't need that. What I need, datetime component, already has that in there. Alright, cool. So that's part of computed. So define models, define data, define methods. This is gonna be here. We'll just paste that into there like that. I think I'm pulling in the computed stuff, maybe. No, I'm not sure. No, I'm not. There you go, easy done. Alright, so get ID. Wrong thing. This is number picker. Sorry, my bad. Scroll up. We do actually have a computed section. Here it is. And what we want to do is we're going to have a get ID in there. Okay. So that solves that. Now, the next thing we actually do is we've got this in a form group. We're going to have a div. And we're not going to call it that. What we're going to call it is number row. In here. We've got a couple of buttons. Once again, we're getting rid of all of this. That's perfectly fine. we're going to keep that in there. That's perfectly fine. Yep, that's perfectly fine. We've got the input. The ID is going to be get ID. Current value picked. We're going to get rid of all of those classes because we're going to handle that in a second. Decent. There's a crew working on it right now. Oh, nice, nice. So yeah. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. So yeah. Now, text input component. Still got that problem. What the fuck? I cut it out. Oh, my bad. Having a look at this. So we've got the type number. I'm just having a quick look. Paste that after there. We'll need to import that error message. We don't have an error message at the moment, but I'll create one. I need to get rid of this class. And instead have class equals positive or additive. And the class up here equals negative. That way I can differentiate between the two. Just one AD. Alright, we need the error message, so that's just going to be part of that's a ref, so we need a couple of refs. That's fine. We'll just scroll all the way up here. They're done after the models. Like so. I need to go back up here and I just need to go ref. Is done. Has error isn't used anywhere or anything like that, but we'll key this in with how we want to actually do it. So once again, that's field required. So yeah, that is stock standard sort of stuff. And that's something which we can extract out, and once again, extract it out into its own component and so forth like that. Considering that doesn't change at all. So we can have form group label, have form group, and then form group label, key in the information that we need from here into it. What's your uncle? It just renders out how we want it to. And that way we're then dealing with just the fields for this. Alright, so what I want to do is I want something on number row. We want display flex, flex direction equals row. We don't want to. We're going to go flex start, and we're going to bump back over to here. We don't see anything over here. I'm just going to hit refresh. There we go. This is looking horrible at the moment, and that's fine. What we need to do is we need to make these buttons a little bit bigger. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to go over here. I'm just going to cut that right now. I'm just going to go CD into the sites view, and then we've got the number picker test npm run dev. 5174. We're going to go local host 5174. I'm just going to do this. So we kind of want something similar to this. Except I'm going to get rid of that straight off the bat. So if we go over to the Vue app, we don't actually have that in there, but hey, these particular fields work perfectly fine. We're able to type numbers in, but like most number components, you can't do a negative first. So we kind of want, if I inspect those, we've got the buttons and all that kind of stuff. Font size, we'll inherit the font size, that's perfectly fine. It's the width that I'm more interested about. So, yeah, let's play around with it. So I'm just gonna hit refresh. I'm just gonna click on these, and what we're going to do is I'm gonna go with, I'm gonna go 5 REM. Nothing happened. That's on the button itself. Pixels does nothing. All right, I'm gonna get this number thing. I'm just gonna go input, should be like this, input, width. I'm just gonna go 25% at the moment. That's just temporary. There we go. Now I've got something to play around with here. So, if we go REM, width equals 1.5 REM. We've got something like that. All right, not what we want. 2 REM, not quite square. 3 REM. Okay, that looks good. Then font size, let's say 1.5 REM. And then font line height. Oh, that doesn't work. And then padding is going to be none. Oh, no, I don't like that. Because yeah, I do want that sort of square look. I do like that square look, but I hate the font size. All right. Yeah. All right. Not a problem. We've also got big colors too. So what we want to do down here is we want button, and then we want the width to be 3 REM, and that just works for both of them. Now with the width up here, what we want to do is we want to calculate. We want 100% minus 6 REM, and it fits perfectly now. Oh, I've just hit another ad break. It is 9 o'clock. All right, cool. I didn't think I was going to go this late. Give me a couple of seconds. I've got to make sure cats are indoors and stuff like that. So, yeah. All right, I am back. Oh, it's boiling today. This is like the first week of summer for us. So yeah, welcome back everyone. So yeah, we've just been having cold weather and all of a sudden it hits. So one thing I do want to do is change these button colors. What I can do is we can go down here. Under the button, we've got the and dot positive, in which case we can go background color. We just do a var. I'm just going to do a primary color and dot negative. I'm an element in OP. Yeah, I'm going to do these in alphabetical order. Then we can go background color var secondary like so, and we can do the hovers and so forth like that. So, ooh. There we go. Negative and additive. Alright, in which case that means like that, and then we do the at hover background color is var primary. I can't type. Hover, and then I'm just going to go whoop like that. Go down here, add in some space, and then we need secondary hover. So it's just these minor changes. So as you see, hey, that looks pretty good. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of those borders. I'm not liking those borders at all. Border, I'm just going to go none for the moment. Alright, cool. However, border radius, we want it different depending on if it's additive or not. So with an additive one, what we want is starts at the top left, we want 0. The top right will be var border radius, and then it will be var border radius and then 0 again. All right, so that will give us round on the edges and then sharp there. Cool. We're doing a similar thing with the negative one. What we're going to do is border radius. The top left will be that, and then it'll be in, and then that, and this is just calculated that wrong. And there we go. So it's curved like that. Now we've got to do the same thing with the input. So the input will be border radius. It's going to be 0. So it lines up perfectly. We're also going to edit that border. I don't like that border. So we're going to go border. We're going to go border width, var border width, like so. There we go, that neatens up a lot better. However, it's one of those things where I might actually change the border colors on the verticals. So what I mean by that, border color is going to be, so the top color is going to be var border color. On the other side, var is going to be primary, and then var, and then I don't have border. don't have border color. Oh, alright. It's just border. Oh no, that's this component. That component. Buttons. Oh, alright. Have it like that. All right, top, side, bottom, side. Doesn't look like that has worked how I wanted it to work. I'm just gonna get rid of it then. And I'll keep it like that for the moment. The next thing I want to do is when someone clicks into it, do that sort of stuff. I also want to get rid of the number picker stuff in there. Now, if memory serves me correctly, we did something to get that to work. If I jump back over into here and I inspect this in here, I can't see what we did for the input. Spin button, appearance none. Alright. Input number, get rid of arrows. Alright, cool. Yep, alright, cool. That's pretty much what we need to do. So that's just going to go into here. Oops. We'll fix that up in a second. So input body alert 1, 2, 3. All right, cool. Don't know if, yeah, we're going to modify that. That will be and. Probably not how we want it to work. So what we're going to do, again, just going to put this down here. Yeah, all right, cool. We need that blue border to start working whenever we click on something. I'm going to get rid of that. And just going to clean up this. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right, so what I want to do very, very quickly is I want the focus stuff over here. So when we've clicked on it, input, and we just go and focus, we want those colors to come through. So if I click on this now, boom, those colors have come through. That's what I want. I'm also noticing that it's indented down. I'm just wondering if that's like a border effect. So I'm just going to go border style is, no, it just should be solid. Okay, that's a lot better. So going in here, what we want to do, we also want border style solid. I'm going to go border color. I'm just going to try something. Hot pink, hot honeydew, hot pink, and hot pink. All right, and then we're going to click off that. So hot pink, hot pink, hot pink. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go var. This will be on the right, so this will be primary. And then this will be var secondary. And then it'll be inherent. But then those lines are, oh, it's really rare. All right. Just gonna go border, top, solid. All right. Border, bottom, solid. Oh, I'm just seeing border left, none. Border right, none. And then var border width. All right. Okay. Just trying out a few things. So we've got the border color here and so forth like that. If I copy this, I'm just going to paste those in there. We're just going to format everything like there's no tomorrow. With the border width, we're actually changing that to 2 pixels. And then the var, it'll be secondary. Colors that fill it out. And there we go. All right, cool. I think that looks good. And then this will add, this will subtract. We just need to do the is valid stuff, which is just all that code that we've got up there. I've just got to go through it very, very quickly to be like, all right, cool. How will this work? And so forth like that. And then, yeah, this is coming along very, very quickly too. Also, having a bit of a think. Sorry, the other issue that I had before is come back, font size 8 pixels. Yeah, that doesn't go down because it's not inherited. Yeah, this is part of the inline stuff. Alright, cool. Yeah, all right, cool. Don't worry. Just thinking how I can actually move those down, but I'll have a good think. I think I can work on some of this tomorrow. All right. Having a really good think about what needs to be done. All right, let's get back into it. So with the number picker itself, we've got to admit that we've got to admit upstream. That's easy done. In fact, do we? Yeah, we're still going to omit the if it's valid or not. So when someone applies a decrement, it goes through and then the manual update and stuff like that. We need to validate whether it's, oh, hang on, no, we automatically stop. All right, no, that's not a problem. We automatically stop at stuff. It will always be valid. We don't need to actually emit it up. And what I mean is if we do a refresh, this will default to the default no matter what. And that's fine. And then the user can change it and so forth like that. The model will change itself. If we reach a maximum value, it actually stops the user from going above that. So a good example is if I go into the project information, so I go into the components, project page, property components in here, and I'm like, all right, cool, min value is, we're going to say 0, max value is, let's say, going to be 5. All right, this makes sense with story points. So you don't want the story points to be too large. Let's just refresh, everyone's happy. There's 0, you can't decrease it, and if you type in negative, it won't work. If you go up to 5, it's not going to let you do 5, and if I type in 8, next tick is going to bring it back down to 5. So yeah, that's not a problem at all. However, we can improve some of this. So down in the number picker side of things, we've got on key up, on change, and so forth like that. However, if we have a look at the text import, we've also got focus out and key up. I think key up and I think they're the best ones that I should be using. So you can see the 8 very, very quickly. I'll do another number. I'll do 7. You can see it's there for a fraction of a second and then it splits away. And if I keep doing something like that, you can see it happening very, very fast. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this to the left. I'm going to go into the view sort of stuff in here. We're going to go all the way down into here. Straight into the card component. We want the number picker itself. Actually, do we have? We don't actually have it up there, but that's perfectly fine. We've got the props, we've got the model value here, and if we minimize it, it takes a second or two to change on there. So it doesn't reflect it on here very, very fast. So yeah, I'm just having a look at the code again. When we do a manual update, so manual update event, we need to change that to any, I don't know what the event will be, but it's an event, a type. I'll figure that out in a second. So is not an unbundled update value to 0, sweet. If it's greater than the max or less, it'll update it automatically. If all of those have passed, that's when it mutates it. So it doesn't mutate the number until last second, and once it mutates, that's when it goes up the stream. Okay, cool. So let's do some VueJS type script. This would be on not click. Oh shit. V on key up. Event type. That would be keyboard event. All right, cool. I'm happy with that. Not happy with that. Input, handle input, E equals event. All right, let's do event there. Oh, that's really annoying. Oh, it's possibly null. All right. Now we're just complaining about value as a number does not exist on event target. Okay, that doesn't like that. All right. Alright, I've never done this before, so let's just paste that in for reference. I think it wants me to define the target, so if we go keyboard event press, yeah, keyboard event, because it is a keyboard event. This is part of the manual stuff. We'll define the target, so const target equals HTML input element, and that will be event.target, like that. And then let update value be a number equal target dot value as number. And I get rid of that line. And make sure number is valid. Alright, cool, yep. That's to stop people typing in random letters and so forth like that. So, yeah. Alright. It is at time. It is very late also. Wait till the ads are over and then I'm just gonna raid someone most likely. As for the values up here, we're fine with those. Pretty easy. Yeah, so we've got the max, we've got the min. Has error message we don't need, because it will handle those errors. This input has a problem now. Why are you throwing up an error? I don't know why. Oh, we can get rid of this. We can get rid of this now. I mean, this should still just work. I'm just gonna rebuild it. Alright, it built pretty quickly. We're just gonna go over here. We're just gonna refresh the page. Everything looks like it's still working perfectly fine. We can do up to 5. We can go down to none. We can type in a 3, but we can't type in 33 because it's making it 5. Okay. So, I'm quite happy with that. Start date and stuff will need to be played around with. So will the tags. I will need to make these a lot smaller and stuff like that, and I'll probably think about that on the next stream. So at the moment, let's do npm run build. I can kill this one. Oh, no, it's found errors. Okay, not a problem. Oh, we're gonna have break. I thought we just, alright. Had time. Give me a couple of seconds, I'm just gonna make sure of a few things. I'll be right back. Alright. How are the ads? Oh, we've got about 20 seconds left of the ads. In the meantime, what I could do is I can upload the latest. Oh, I can't upload the latest code because there's issues with it. All right, so property type. All right, no. These are pretty easy to fix. Yeah, these are. Why do I stand in code? I just like to stand sometimes. You'll also notice that I will walk around a bit as I code, as I think, I step back, and so forth like that. Standing just gives me that. I don't like to sit constantly. Alright, so number picker, type that is not assignable to in the props. Alright, so let's quickly fix up a couple of these things. So I'm going to pop that over there. We've got the properties component here. We're just going to go straight to the number picker. We've got is required. That's not required itself because it defaults to, yep, will be false, and that will be fine. Label, yep, we've passed that through. Max value is not required, so same with min value. Step increment, that defaults. Tooltip, required false, yep, that's perfectly fine. So type that is not assignable to, do I have a mistake somewhere? What I'm going to do, going to do that. All right, it does nothing. What we're going to do, we're just going to go over here, we're going to build it, we're going to see if that's the problem. No, that's not the problem. It's all part of the number picker. Something in the number picker is broken. All right, let's undo what I've just done. It might be with this input. Let's just type number. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of. All right, let's just confirm it's this. What I'm doing is I'm going to comment that out. Let's just hit rebuild. Oh, this is with other areas too. So we've got new project, runtime dawn, text area, unknown, it's not a type. All right, cool. So I've programmed in a few bugs this evening. Number picker, all right, cool. Min value, type min value number mod, is not assignable to type. I know what's going wrong. All right, cool. And story points model. If I just make that go away, because it was building before. One of our title string. We shouldn't have title in here. Yeah, and run dev. It works. All right. I'm gonna have to come back with this. Not a problem. I'll just leave this here. But I am getting a little bit tired. I've also got to do a bunch of things around the house. So we are going to raid someone. it looks like they're drawing at the moment. All right. I'll kill the music. Bring these guys down. There we go. So we're gonna raid Ornica number 2. They're currently building a lichess.org. So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much everyone for being here tonight. It was productive. We got a lot done. I've just got to fix those issues that I've created. I'm getting tired, and I'm kind of like at that point where I'm like, yeah, I'll tackle this next stream. And then we've got other sort of problems to tackle. So, for example, creating smaller components, quite literally just smaller components and so forth like that. But yeah, thank you very much. And for those on YouTube, I'm sorry you won't be able to join us with the raid, but thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It does actually help the channel. So yeah, greatly appreciate it. And have a great